Welcome back to the MetaStellar channel. I'm Fallon Clark, book coach, editor, and writer, and I'm here to bring you the writing advice of the week. Done? Start the next one. We all have our methods of generating ideas, whether by creating inspiration boards, scrawling notes on scrap paper, leveraging writing prompts, using AI generators, or other methods. Writers get through stories. I myself draw tarot cards to awaken the gray matter. One piece is done, we're on to the next one. Working hard is part of any success journey, and avoiding complacency, continuing to push forward, hitting goals project after project is key. I like to have a few writing ideas lined up, a few options to choose from for when I'm ready to start a new piece. But pushing forward in this way doesn't always come easy, and it takes but one slow day to miss that flow state. This week's writing advice included two pieces about finding inspiration using things you already have or have access to at home, reading and music. Tim Bullock for Writer Unboxed writes, "The reading-writing connection, how mixing it up can supercharge your work." This article will be especially helpful if reading for inspiration or for discovering comp titles has become more of a chore than a leisure activity. Like many writers, I've also had periods of reading burnout, and the best way I've found to renew my interest is in variation, which also helps me to keep a steady tap of ideas. As a literary omnivore, I frequently bounce between fiction, nonfiction, and memoir, even textbooks, to refresh my book palette and keep things interesting. And I've brought home books from the library that my 5-year-old picked for me. So if you're in a reading rut, switch it up and see what burbles to the surface. If not reading, maybe you're wondering how to include rhythm and movement into your process. I like practicing with a drum pad. Matt Frick, too, likes tunes and how I use soundtracks to help me write when I'm not writing for a writer's path. Using tunes can help in finding the shape and pace of stories and other pieces, can help a writer string together a cohesive and meaningful plot line, which makes sense given that music is one of the oldest forms of communication and storytelling. Now, I love a good short story. And this week, Mark DeVoe invited Karen Story for a talk on how to become a short story superstar for the bestseller experiment. Karen has found a way to churn out an awe-inspiring word count on a regular basis with great success. Listen in to hear about her process and what keeps her moving day after day. And if you're waiting for the day you achieve success in your writing, check out the 3 best writing tips I've gotten from masters and the 4 best writing tips I've given by Peter Blauner for Writer's Digest. The article has a little craft, a little process, a little motivation, and some social support. So make sure you're giving yourself the tools you need for success. Now, one of the first choices you'll make when starting a story is perspective. When writing a deep and immersive point of view, sensory details help ground the reader. Making the Most of Sensory Detail in Deep POV by Lisa Hall Wilson is worth a read if you're writing in a deep point of view with a unique perspective. Getting the character involved in and experiencing their world allows the reader to do the same. When you're examining scenes and looking for those sensory details your character would notice, remember that deep POV means your character is the storyteller. What do they see? How do they respond? And what happens? At one point in my writerly life, I didn't know when done was. This obviously caused some problems with project completion, and I ruined a few stories by overworking them. Thankfully, those days have passed. And this week, I received a hard copy proof of my coming booklet on point of view. If you're struggling to define done so you can move past a piece, check out How Does a Writer Really Know When Their Manuscript is Ready by Mary Cole for the Insecure Writer Support Group. And of course, when one piece of writing is done, it's time to move on to the next one. So grab your tarot deck, writing prompt of the day, or whatever other method you use, and get back to it. Until next week, happy writing. Maria collects more advice links each week than I can possibly share in a single writing advice video. So be sure to check out the overflow links in the text article on the MetaStellar website if you're looking for something I didn't include this week. And I'd love to know if you had a favorite piece of advice shared. Leave a comment below and let me know what worked well for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for ongoing updates, not just the writing advice of the week, but we also have free Fridays, Tech Talks by Maria, and a whole host of other stuff.